Carlos and Ryan, and we know that you're dying to hear what we have to say today. I say we hear what we have to say today. It's the blank. Fill it in. Fill it in. Fill it in. Yeah. So fresh and so clean.
Young. That was a good song.
That's a great song.
It's a great song.
Classic song. But young world, a young world.
I should have
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I am doing my intro. You need to prioritize this before we start.
Sorry.
God.
All right. Sorry.
I am Carlos.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is The Blank with Carlos and Ryan. Welcome to another week, another episode with your boys. The Blank with Carlos and Ryan. Ryan, please take it away.
Happy Wednesday.
Thursday. It is Thursday. It is always Thursday.
Happy motherfucking Thursday.
Yeah.
Even though we are recording this a day early.
Yes.
And the reasoning
why, Ryan? Tell the people. Tell the young world.
First off, happy Thursday, and then happy Friday if you're listening to it on Friday. I don't even know if we're uploading this tonight.
Probably tomorrow night.
But tomorrow night. But in this case, thank you for coming for another week. Today's is definitely going to be an interesting topic, which I think is going to be really fucking cool to talk about. Because I think Carlos and I definitely have some cool kind of experiences on it. But the reason why we are filming this on a Wednesday, usually we don't do that on odd days, but is because the Colts are playing. So the Indianapolis Colts are playing on Thursday Night Football. So everybody who is my friend, please go check them out tomorrow night. They're having a big night against the Jets, and we're all going to have a great gay old time.
Oh boy!
At a bar.
And I want to just reference when he says gay, he's referring to happy, like it is in the definition book.
Yes.
Not the homosexuality for I am straight. Ladies, if you're listening, you know the deal. Hit the DM, slide in. But yes, we are shooting a day early so Ryan can go support his Colts. Him and probably two other people on the planet will be doing the same. But they are facing the Jets on Thursday. So I guess by the time this airs, this would be the same day. So depending on what time you're listening. But if you're into football and you want to see the Colts get their ass kicked, please tune in and support and show some love. But yeah, Ryan is a lifelong.
No, definitely not. Only up until maybe like 10 years.
10 years.
10 years since I started watching football.
A fan for 10 years now. The Colts.
Something
there's
like
Dallas. There's the Giants. Like what other teams are pretty. Got New Orleans, Kansas City. I guess
big name teams.
Yeah, but Ryan is not like that. He's going for the Colts and he wants to support them. So. We'll shoot a day early for that. That's fine. But other than that, here we are. Another day, another week, another episode of The Blank with us two hooligans.
How was your day today, Carlos?
It was all right. Still working from home, doing that thing. A lot of angry people here and there. My workplace finally found out what I did. This.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how?
I don't know. A friend.
Podcast.
He recently quit to go back to school. Shout out to Ragul. So then he baited out my scene basically in a group, and everybody found out. But Yeah, so,
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, I would encourage, if you're going to listen to my episodes, to keep this person and my workplace person as a separate people, because I mean, I'm still the lovable Carlos you will cherish, but it's just I have my phases, I have my episodes, so I just want to be employed. I need a job.
This is definitely going to affect
Yeah,
Charles's whole persona.
yeah, I'm
on
just
the,
like,
on the podcast.
I'm still that guy. I'm still that guy. But other than that, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they know the title of it or if they're aware of what I do, but not of the actual show itself. I'm just hoping that we become big enough where they can forgive me.
We're like 29 or 28 episodes in. Can you think we could just go type in like Carlos podcast and our names would come up on Google? Or Ryan podcast? I don't think so, right?
You don't. Yeah, I mean, we could try.
We'll try. You know what?
Let's go.
Somebody out. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was gonna say,
out there.
Well, I don't know. Just be homework.
These people are busy enough as is. Let's see, Carlos, my podcast. Carlos podcast. No, nothing. No.
Oh yeah, we're definitely.
No, we need.
We're definitely too.
No, yeah, we're not.
What about Ryan podcast? So we're definitely trying it right now to see if there's any sort of.
I don't know. Let's see. Why don't you come up? I was gonna say real talk.
No.
Hang on.
Ryan, you got a podcast without me?
Oh shit.
Just me talking about GI Joes or something random.
Jesus. Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay. Well, we'll get
search up the Blank podcast.
Oh yeah, that will definitely.
You think so? Well, Blank podcast with Giles, Paley, Phillips, and Jim Daly. That sounds like a lawsuit. Let's see. But yeah, no, even the Blank podcast doesn't come up.
Damn.
All right, well, we're getting there.
We're getting there. We're probably on the second. We're probably on the second page.
Slowly but surely, we will find out. Eventually find ourselves on the Google first page at least. But well, we'll take our time with it. Patience. Other than that, yeah, let's carry on with.
Oh, let's do
recent news.
And I guess this is like the news from the last week, even though we're a day early. Usually there's like a day for us to at least gather some news or a little bit more news.
We're a day early. If we don't cover everything, we'll just cover it next week, okay? Don't be impatient. But yeah, recent news. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, y'all did it. Broke the curse.
Congratulations.
You won the World Series. You did it. Atlanta, hot Atlanta. I want to go there for their strip clubs.
I'm sure that I would be fucking wild.
It's probably insane
in Atlanta
right now. It's probably nuts in hot Atlanta right now.
Like hot Atlanta? Is that the word?
Is that the name? Did you not know that?
No, I had no idea.
Do you not pay attention to the streets?
No, never.
No? You weren't a BET fan growing up?
Well, I was. Only when Jin was freestyle. Freestyle Friday when Jin was killing it.
Yeah, oh boy.
Selling $5 batteries.
Put it into some motherfuckers. Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, hot Atlanta, man. They did it. They apparently it's they had a history of not making it to the big one or winning the big one, but they finally did it. Their teams finally did it. And shout out to Atlanta and to the mayor of Atlanta, if you're listening. I mean, I'm not saying, well, I mean, that's small chance that you're listening. Hook your boys up. I'm trying to, take a tour of the strip clubs that you got up there. You know what I'm saying?
Diamonds.
Yeah.
Is it diamonds?
I don't know. Why do you know that? That's weird. All right. Moving on. Strip club board. This guy's wearing a robe to the goddamn strip club. Just like, hey, Carl, Ryan here. Another recent news. Should we go into the sad news now?
Yeah,
or keep it?
We can go to the sad news.
For the Torontonians that are on social media, if you are not aware, Debbie, a pretty well-known name, I would say, on social media in the younger generation.
I would say so.
Yeah, has passed away. rumors are circulating that it was a drug overdose. I don't believe a confirmation has come out, but you know, it's unfortunate. Never met Debbie, but I've heard stories of how she has been around the area. You know, apparently she was struggling with depression. You know, they had a GoFundMe for her. They went way over the goal, but then the city of Toronto stepped in to pay for the funeral.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. So I believe they're going to be refunding everybody that donated. In terms of you know, my condolences to the family and those who are affected. I want to say that, you know, if you are struggling with depression or if you are having any issues whatsoever, don't be afraid to reach out to anybody, whether it be your friend or a professional, to you know, hopefully deal with whatever situation you got. And you know, hopefully you get out of that you know, that little hurdle that you're, you know, having a tough time getting over, and you know, get back to it, and getting back to this crazy thing that we call life. And also, you know, there was a huge you know, controversy on the social media sites that posted her passing, you know, claiming that, you know, they used her for clout, just to, you know, because I don't believe Debbie got paid for her, you know, entertainment. So, you know, these websites are getting all this attention where she's getting nothing for it. You know, be a smart business person. If you're gonna be entertaining, you know what you're doing. Get paid for your time. You know, this is your world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all genders. You know, don't ever, you know, sell yourself short or sell yourself for nothing. You know, just get what you deserve. All right. If you know, you need to, if you know you're getting traction, you're getting attention online, and you know, and you like the attention or you don't like the attention. If you for those that like the attention, you know, expand on that. Create your own page. Fuck these social sites that are making money off you and getting these views off you. You are who you are. All right. Just note that. But the depression side of things, yes, please reach out. You know, there's people, you know, although you may not feel it at the time, there are people who truly care about you. But you know what? Me and Ryan care about you. We love you.
Please no.
Please know. All right. Ryan, do you have
Beautifully said. You know, I think that Carl's kind of really hit the
nail on the head.
The nail on the head. I was gonna say nail on the hammer, but I don't really know the whole.
Fuck does I even?
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna ruin my goddamn speech. Now we gotta cut the goddamn show. See y'all next week. Fuck this shit.
Look at Wednesday.
take the fucking hat off and embarrassing me and shit.
But no, it was beautifully said. I think that, you know, Carl's touched on a lot of points. And the first thing I do want to say is, you know, my condolences to, you know, Debbie and the family. If there's any specific people that were really close to her and, you know, happened to lose a friend, a family member, a sister. I don't even know if she had siblings. I don't know too much about her, but
I don't know.
You know, my condolences to that. And definitely, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but if you are suffering from any sort of mental illness, depression, whatever it may be, and you feel like there's nowhere else to reach out, please find some sort of way to reach out. There's definitely certain programs in Toronto that you can definitely go to. I know that there's probably long wait lists, certain things like that, but there is, if you seek it out, you know, definitely don't be scared to, because there's tons of different things that you can definitely do to be able to be, you know, heard. I think is one big word in relation to that. To get on to the side of the whole kind of dramatics with like social media taking advantage of her and using her as like a clout, like money maker kind of thing, like that's really fucked up.
Yes.
I don't know too much about how like Instagram works and like the promotions and stuff like that, how much like Six Buzz is making off of like these posts and stuff like that, but like definitely they need to do something for the family, I would think, to, you know,
funeral cost aside,
yeah, like that kind of stuff, like do something to be able to kind of honor that girl, because no matter how much you used her and exposed her to have like that odd kind of social media personality that people know or that knew her from Toronto. It was kind of like, man, you use that to a certain goal. And I know that it probably maybe wasn't in the mind state at the time, but then we lost somebody, due to the suffering, and that just kind of like not really adds to it, but it is part of it. So I'm not saying you guys are responsible for it, but please definitely look into that because it is something. I actually met sort of met her in real life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, funny enough. I think one time we didn't really say hi, but we kind of just like looked at each other. But it's not like I'm famous or anything. But it was like
Yet.
I was at this bar on King and Bathurst, downtown, great like clubbing bar area or whatever it is. And then I was with a couple of my buddies that I went to Seneca with. And I think I was outside for a smoke or something like that. And one of my buddies came with me. And she was standing on the corner just like staring at my buddy. Like, I guess like, well, he's a good looking dude.
Uh-oh.
So just like staring at him.
Uh-oh.
And then he's like looking at me and he's like, Ryan, is that girl staring at me? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And it's just like a funny story that I thought in my head as soon as I heard the news. There was nothing approached, no nothing. We didn't really talk.
Fam.
Nothing like that.
Good. Yo, your man, your boy here is a sweetie, fam.
Nothing like that. No,
oh man.
She could have, but I had no.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking like, oh, who is this girl? Like, she kind of looks familiar. And then all of a sudden, I remember she started blowing up. And this was a couple of years before, I guess, she started blowing up on things. But yeah, it was funny. So always remember that. Nothing bad about the situation whatsoever. It's just kind of an interesting story that I remember running into her at one point in time, and now unfortunately she's gone. So sad times.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
This episode is dedicated in honor of Debbie. Yeah, to Debbie. In other sad news, Henry Ruggs the third,
Henry Ruggs the third, Oakland Raiders, rookie wide receiver, former.
Yeah, he. When did this happen?
I don't know. It had to be over the last couple of days.
I believe over the weekend. I guess. Henry Ruggs the third was driving in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was driving over twice the alcohol limit, driving at 165 miles per hour. And he unfortunately got into an accident, which caused the life of a pedestrian, and I believe her dog. I mean, I don't know what to say. No, it's what were you thinking?
What are these guys doing, man? Like,
you have all this money, you have all this, all these accommodations made for you. I was hearing that they have like an Uber that's like free for them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, it's just
I would not be surprised.
I mean,
it's the NFL.
And the idiotic thing about it is he had a loaded gun in the vehicle as well. So
what are you doing, bro?
Bro,
like what are you doing? You're like 20. I think he's like 21 or 22. He's pretty young. But yeah, Henry Ruggs, he had a great couple of first games of his season. Started out really slow and then started killing it as a long bomb threat. And then it just goes out and do some stupid shit like that.
Far too comfortable too early.
Like, got in a car and then killed somebody, and now he's in a wheelchair and his career is probably ruined.
Probably gonna go to jail for quite some time.
Fucked up.
Just what were you thinking, bro? What were you thinking? It's just we here at the blank want to we can't stress this enough, but drive safe, don't drink and drive. I mean, although we don't have free Uber available to us pedestrian, local folk, use Uber, call a friend, just ease up. If you're gonna drink, don't drive. That's what we have to stress here enough.
We even have there's this service in Toronto that you can get where it would be like two people. If you call them, it's like two people, and then one person drives you home, and then the other person drives your car home for you, and you pay like $40 or $50 or something like that. It's pretty good, depending on where you're going, how far you're going. Obviously, there's like a charge for it.
Sure.
But yeah, I remember going out in Ajax when I was in school.
Yeah.
And some of these guys were using it, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, what a great fucking service. They literally drive your car home because they get your car home safe and you're home, which is super sick.
That's nuts.
Super smart. And I don't know why that's not maybe more big And not to get away too much from like the NFL kind of thing that just happened, but yeah, no, there's so many different ways that people can get home.
They had free Uber, like they literally had free Uber, like a simple, hey, I'm drunk, pick me up.
Yeah, call your boys, man.
Yeah, come on, all these things. A loaded gun in your vehicle, bro. Come on, who you need to protect yourself from? Who's after you?
Yeah, you're the wide receiver of the lot.
They love you out there. They love you in the streets, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Well, I guess that's all the sad news that we have, but I guess a bit of good news for the young world out here. $15 minimum wage.
Definitely.
Wow.
Doug Ford.
Big deal.
Doug motherfucking
Although he
Ford.
said he wasn't gonna do it, and now he fucking backtracked like the little bitch that he is. Little pussy. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Doug Ford. By the way, if my coworkers are listening, that's a bit of a joke. Please ignore that. Strike that from the record. That is all. But yeah, Doug Ford raising the minimum wage. So these part-timers might be living large sometime soon.
Yeah.
Might them afford them some housing. Look at you go. And now it raised up a situation. This week I was talking amongst my my peers, and it's about the waitressing and waiters and
service fee,
service
wage. Sorry,
so that's going up to $13 an hour, I believe.
I thought it was 15.
No, I believe they're also 13.
Really?
Yeah, I believe. Let me double check.
Yeah, double check that.
I believe it's 13, but yes, they let's see.
Because the serve, so in Ontario, for those who don't happen to live in Ontario, the minimum wage currently is at $14.35. They've been pushing for 15 for quite a while now, for at least like 2 years or something like that. And Ontario's government just hasn't been kind of giving in or anything like that. And then recently it actually went up 10 cents from 35 to 25 because they thought that they were doing us a favor, but no, definitely not.
Okay, my apologies. It's 15 as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then another one of the things that we ran into is that not only the minimum wage is going up, but the server wage
is also
going up
to 15 as well.
I believe that the server wage from before the change, it was at $12.55.
Yes.
And in this case, it jumps up to 15 starting January 1st. So the conversation that we're having, and I would love to have this conversation with anybody who has an opinion on it. Please
literally anyone. Anyone. We are desperate.
Shoot us an email, hit us up on Instagram, just shoot us a paragraph or give us an essay, whatever it may be. But we would love to hear.
Or a video on Insta.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
That too.
Or YouTube. We need anything. Go ahead.
It would be the conversation on tipping.
Yeah. Tipping on fofos.
So
black fofos.
And we know that. Oh, that was a huge song.
Great song.
Hype.
Oh, Mike Jones and Paul. Oh. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
But in Toronto, tipping culture is huge.
Oh,
it's like a minimum, a social standard.
Yeah.
Uniform, everyone does it.
If you ain't, you broke.
You're
basically.
Yeah, I know. I remember walking into bars when we were younger, when we were like 19, 18, like 20, and then the servers would be like, "This motherfucker didn't tip us."
Yeah.
Like this dude's a bitch, or like that person sucks, or whatever like that. So in Toronto, it's just an expected thing to tip like 15%.
Yes.
And then with COVID, restaurants even put it up to 18 at some points, where some restaurants expect at least an 18 minimum percent. I went into a restaurant the other day and they charged us a minimum of 18%.
Really?
For our party.
Nothing. Oh shit. Nothing below.
Yeah, nothing below. They didn't even thing. So then, yeah, it was crazy. So now that servers are making the same amount as minimum wage workers, are you still tipping, Carlos?
Probably not. I'll tell you why. Because even if you're a part-timer, you're still working a lot of hours.
Yeah. Definitely.
You're working
anything under 40 hours.
Yeah.
Is it 40?
Yeah.
44 hours?
It's minimum wage. So regardless, you're still making 15.
Yeah.
Per hour.
Is a lot of
and that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit. Because even 20 an hour, that's basically salary if you're working full time. That's salary.
Yeah. It's salary for like
you're
a lot of entry to like mid-range salary.
100%.
So in this case, it's kind of like you're already pretty close.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, if you're 15 an hour, what's the necessary, like, because before it's like, when you tip, you understand like, oh shit, she's not working that many hours compared, she's not making a lot compared to even part-timers. But now they are literally making the same amount as retail stores, and you know what I mean? And those retail people, they have part-time, we're not tipping them, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah,
because at all those times, they were still, even if they're part-time, they were still making their, how much was minimum wage before? 13 something?
It was 14.25 and then 14.35 about a month ago or 2 months
so,
ago.
I mean, like 14.35, that's pretty solid compared to the $12 I believe they were making before.
$12.55.
So now it's equal, equal field, side, equal playing field here. They're all making the same. What do you need a tip for? Just work your hours. I understand you're giving us service, and I get that. You want to make sure you're on your best. But I mean, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about the service thing, it's like, the person. Well, at the same time, they're not really going out of their way really to serve us. It's their job at this point.
It's whether they do like an extraordinary job,
right.
Or
if they
like
go over and beyond,
exactly, above and beyond.
Do you deserve the tip?
So then now it gets into the conversation of like, does tipping culture in Toronto, because we're already at about a 15% to an 18% minimum.
Yeah.
Does it drop down now that
I feel it will.
That people, it's like a social standard that it drops back down to like 10, what it used to be a couple of years ago, and then maybe even gets down to 5? Or does society in Toronto just stop tipping in general because we know that these people are making at least minimum wage?
I don't think it will stop. I don't think the tipping will stop, but I do feel that a good chunk of the city will not tip as much.
Drops down.
Yeah. I think it's a good chunk of the city will not tip as much anymore, because not even as much, probably not tip, because equal playing field here, pal. You're making good money, appreciate it, live it. They're probably even you know what? It sucks because they were probably even making more with tip.
Yeah. That's like the bad thing for servers, right? Like if they were on average, even though they're making $12.55 an hour,
they're making,
if they're making good tips, they could be making 20 an hour. Like I know one of my cousins, she used to work at Moxie's, and I remember one night she told me she worked like a New Year's Eve or something like that. You know how much she brought home, just her own? $1,000.
Jesus Christ.
One night.
Jesus Christ.
And she's not like that. She's strictly just a server. But in that case, that's how crazy the tipping culture can be. But then there's probably, that's 1 out of a million. There's probably 2 or 3 servers out in Toronto that make literally just $12.55 an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they have to share it with the back and the front and the chefs, and then management probably takes over. The questions that I had was whether companies now or restaurants now start raising their prices on clients to try and make up for that $15.
They better fucking not if they're gonna lose a motherfucker. I'm trying to get drunk and shit. You're gonna charge me double? Are you fucking stupid? You bitch. I'm not coming here to this motherfucker. I'll take the beer, throw the goddamn drink in your goddamn face. No, fuck that. No. Why? I don't see why you should. No,
I don't know. No. That's it's gonna be interesting.
This is gonna be a really interesting time. Because I mean, like, as I mentioned before, even people were making more with tips, but now that it's going to drop down, they're going to have to get used to living that normal life and no longer being lavish and whatnot anymore. So, yeah, I mean, will we even have waitresses or waiters if...
Another one thing I actually wanted to bring up. Good point. So, sorry, not to just jump in really quickly.
Go ahead.
So there's this coffee shop that opened up down the street on College Street. It's on the corner of College and Bathurst, I believe. Yeah, College and Bathurst, and it's called RoboCop Cafe.
Oh, I thought it's called RoboCop Cafe.
No, sorry, Robo Cafe. And pretty much it's like a fucking ATM, but a coffee machine, and it's open 24/7. That you can literally just go in to the ATM outside, click whatever you want, put in the change for your cappuccino or your coffee or whatever it may be, and it makes it in front of you. But if you look in the window beside the ATM, it's literally a robot making you coffee.
Oh, that's cool.
So in that case, things like I had a conversation with Alessia the other day about robots and like, do they start taking over things like Starbucks and baristas?
Hell yeah.
And it's like, you can't tip a robot.
No.
You know what I mean? But you tip like baristas, like cafes, like bartenders and stuff like that. Like, what if all that stuff becomes like automated? We knew that it was going automatic with like drones and fucking Amazon using robots to like ship things, and like when mail started being automated and stuff like that. We knew that it was going towards that, but now like things like cafes where it's like, hey, the minimum wage is going to $15, but if companies start putting in robots to like replace their fucking coffee makers, then it's like there's no tipping. There's the tip culture is gone now, and we're just paying for our coffee or whatever.
And
like
the
that.
robots turn to slaves. And but you know, I'm not lying. This is like one of my biggest fears. Like if robots freaking start becoming, you know, like slaves, and then they end up like fucking realizing, fuck this shit, I'm more intelligent than these fuckers. They start taking, bro, Terminator, fam. Like Skynet will fucking take, dude. Even with the whole introduction with Meta, with what's his face, what's his name? He literally Zuckerberg, fucking that robot, you know. Shit. He's a lizard person, guaranteed. Like I would bet good money. I would bet good money. There's no way he's human being. Anyways, but yes, he's starting that virtual reality nonsense. That's gonna.
Is that what it is?
It's well, no, he literally changed the name of Facebook to Meta. So now the social media site will still run, but it's just called Meta. Okay. And then he also created a virtual reality.
What's that called?
Meta. Okay, it's under Meta. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so basically it's, you know, you put on the headset, you know, you friggin' going around, you friggin' everyday everyday things, you know, grocery shopping, groceries, gym, you know, eating dinner, grabbing women by the pussy. Donald Trump will probably be. Hopefully, by the time it releases, they'll let Donald Trump back on social media, or who knows? Maybe Donald Trump might create his own, and then he does that with the virtual reality. But yes, here's my fear about that. I feel that they're just gonna use those headsets to program us to be stuck in this virtual reality where we have nowhere else to go, and then the fucking robots will just have to take over the world while we're just strapped in this fucking headset, and we'll be their slaves, dude. That's how it starts. And then it will just go worse and worse. Skynet will fucking rule, and John Connor will die before we even can save the world. That's what's going to happen, dude. Count on it.
I'm banking on it. I'm pretty passionate about that.
Oh, dude, God. I am terrified. I am scared. I am so scared. I'm scared.
So we can bust open the cigar. That's the plan.
Hands shaking and shit. But yeah, robots, if you're listening, please don't take over the world. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And then, you know, first they start taking our jobs, and then they take our freedom, dude. We don't want them to take our jobs. Those poor waiters and waitresses that have to suffer in the near future, and they just got minimum wage, you know. So
that sounds like a toxic relationship.
Bum, 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 bum. You got the word of the day, toxic relationship. Toxic relationship title right here. Yeah, and that is our word, or not word, but that's our literal topic.
Yeah.
Toxic relationships. What's a toxic relationship to you, Ryan said?
Well, I was actually doing a bit of research today on it, and just like thinking about my own experiences with relationships, and like how, I guess, and like also society and how modern day like looks at toxic relationships. So there was, I think it's like Wellness Today or Psychology Today, and they defined it as a relationship between two people where it's like almost like a competition between one another, where they're trying to like up each other, like not up each other, but like one up each other.
Come on, let's keep this PG.
In relation to like, I don't know, their like social status or ego or whatever it may be. So I thought that was a really interesting kind of definition about it. I think obviously then when people think toxic relationships, they think like boyfriends, girlfriends, relationships,
Mhm.
marriages, whatever like that. But there is one topic that I do want to get into. It's like toxic relationships with like your family,
Uh-oh.
or like your workplace, or
Uh-oh.
like maybe even food, or like social media, or whatever it may be. And I do definitely want to talk about those things, but I think um definitely what everyone thinks what a toxic relationship is, we want to talk about that first because I think that's an interesting topic. So what about you? What do you consider a toxic relationship?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there with the superiority thing. I think there's just like they feel that when you feel superior at what you're doing, then you're obviously gonna, let other people, there's some people who let their ego run and then let them know that, look, no, you're not good at this, I'm good at that, let me do it, and you do whatever you can, and you just like, no, pay attention, this is how you do it. So whether it be things like, I don't know, cooking, for instance, women in history have been known, to be the not sir, I don't want to say servant, but the, I don't even know how to put it in terms, that person who would, cooking, cleaning, the let's compare this to the breadwinner, the husband who goes to work and provides for the family versus the stay-at-home mom who does the cooking and cleaning. Now then, if a stay-at-home mom is knows what they're doing and they're good at it, and the father wants to try it, she will just be like, no, 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 don't that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm good at this. You don't do it. If you're gonna do it well. You know what I mean? Or the husband who, comes home just like, no, I'm the breadwinner of this home. I get to provide the money for this, and this. You don't, you let me do me. If you want something, you bring it to me and I'll let you know what. Someone who takes control, someone who is, someone who, feels empowered in
Yeah.
what they're doing. So, when it comes to, yeah, so when it comes to the husband, even if he doesn't feel control, if he had a pretty rough day, somebody who takes his anger out on the wife, whether it be physical, emotional, and the wife is still sticking along with it, that's a toxic relationship in my eyes, in my opinion, and probably for many others. And it's an unfortunate thing that because some people feel like that's too, in their opinion, that's how relationships work. Whereas, people who grew up in my generation feel like, no, there's more equality, there's more. So, I handle my side of things and the other person handles their side of things. And then we come to this mutual agreement. And, if you want to help out, you can. Yeah, that's to me a relationship. That's a definition of a relationship. But yes, that's how I see things there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the questions I had for you, Carlos, is that do you
Oh.
feel like the media nowadays, whether it's like television or like movies, whether it is in like any sort of comedy shows or whatever it may be, do you feel like media and like Hollywood has sort of glorified toxic relationships in things like movies, books, all of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So like just an example, I was watching Seinfeld a couple days ago, and I know Seinfeld's a really old show, but there is scenes and reoccurring like jokes and events where they talk about how like how toxic one side of the relationship can be. Like I think there's one scene where I was watching the other day where George goes to his girlfriend and he goes, "I want to break up with you,"
Mm.
and then she goes, "We're not breaking up. I'm not allowing you to."
Ooh.
And he's like, okay. So then the whole skit and the whole like kind of joke around that specifically is that, first George isn't like, I guess, man enough to break up with his girlfriend. And then it gets into the question of like, does it take two to agree to a relationship breakup?
Mm.
And then why is this woman allowing George just to kind of stay in this relationship that he doesn't want to be in? And then like those things and like examples like that are toxic relationships that media happens to portray out, but is realistically bad to be able to kind of watch. So what do you think?
I think the media has a good portrayal as to, not a good, but like they definitely have their ways of portraying toxic relationships. I think it's just been a thing for, regardless if it's, it's not like a recent thing, it's been for years and years. They've been portraying things that are toxic, men being the breadwinner, women being the stay at home. But now I see things as being reversed now, where women are going to be the breadwinners, and men staying at home, either streaming in the meantime, making dough for the home, and then I guess, I don't know, they're cleaning and doing shit on the side, whatever. But I think that toxicity in the media, I don't know if that plays a part as to what makes people who they are. Most people would say that they feel the way they feel either from experience with their parents, or some sort of trauma that they been through. I know from the women that I've spoken to that they feel, they feel the way they feel, they are the way they are, whether they feel toxic about one thing due to history of abuse and being cheated on. They're not as trusting, and so they do, they don't let down these walls to allow people to come in. And then they're very they get agitated, or they get like, I don't want to say, I've never experienced physical, but emotionally, whenever people try to get close emotionally, they just let up these walls, and just let off like some sort of vent, frustration, or this this episode of frustration or venting. But yeah, that's in terms of media influence. I don't know if it'll play a part. I think it's they portray it, but I don't know if they play a part as to you know it creating toxicity in the relationship. I think they could play a part in terms of marriage, saying, oh, what type of, what is the ideal way to, do marriage, or, proposing, or, even just relationships in general, how a relationship should work. Man takes care of the woman, is taken care of, blah, 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 blah. But in terms of toxicity, no, I think I would blame the humans themselves as to why it is how the relationship is.
No, great point. Definitely, I think that one of the things I actually want to talk about, and you kind of reminded me of it, is that even though we do have like, a bunch of movies and like television shows and books and whatever it may be, that kind of show off toxic relationships, and we laugh at them because like things like on social media, and then how couples do like those weird kind of skits together and stuff like that, where it's more of a joke. Human beings happen to create that. And human beings happen to create Hollywood, and human beings happen to create those skits and all that kind of stuff that we are supposed to find funny or to glorify in a certain way in relation to media. We are the toxic ones. And I don't want to get into this too quickly, but like I want to let everybody know that sometimes like you have to realize that we as individuals are the ones that are toxic. I think it's like a common thing where like people think that, oh, we try to like deflect it onto the other person, whether it's another person in that relationship, or if it's like maybe you have a toxic relationship with like food, and then like maybe food is the one that fucking gets to you, and you're like trying to blame food and being accessible to that, and not being able to kind of take responsibility for your own actions. I think that's a huge kind of toxic trait that a lot of relationships that do consider them or would be considered a toxic relationship happen to get into. One of the things I actually learned recently, and I still don't fully understand the definition of it, but gaslighting. I never really learned that word my whole life until I got like 20 something. And then somebody told me what gaslighting was. And I'm kind of like, what is that? I still don't know what it is. Do you know what gaslighting is?
I've heard the term, but the definition escapes me right now. So
I think it's like, so let's say if Carlos and I were in a relationship, and then I was saying like let's say something happened where I broke your vase, Maybe you had a vase with some flowers in it
Yeah.
or something like that. And then you were like, Ryan, did you break my vase? And then I'm like, no, like you broke your vase. Like, and then it's creating like certain situations in your head to think that I'm in a better light than you are, even though I'm the worst one in the relationship. So things like that.
Okay.
I think that's what gaslighting is. And if I am wrong, then please let me know.
Don't ask
hit
these
us up.
don't ask
I know, I love it.
motherfuckers.
I love that
No.
stuff.
Hang on. Let's figure out. I have the definition right here. It says gaslighting is a form of manipulation that occurs in abusive relationships. It is an insidious and sometimes covert type of emotional abuse where the bully or abuser makes the target question their judgments and reality. Ultimately, the victim of gaslighting starts to wonder if they are losing their sanity.
And that's fucking gaslighting.
That's fucking gaslighting.
That's got to be probably some of the worst shit that any toxic relationship can kind of be in. Well, definitely it's like mentally, I would say. Other than like,
you gotta really
like that kind of shit.
Oh Jesus! Oh boy, you kind of enjoy that. You know,
sorry, man.
It's like, you know, oh shit! Come on now, let's oof. But yeah, gaslighting is that's a shitty one. You know, to have some, you know, it's a shitty thing to have someone question their own judgment to make them feel like not in control of what they're doing. It's that's a shitty situation to be put in. So, you know, even, you know, females and males like can even suffer from it too, that deal with that shit. In terms of I'm trying to think of maybe like an example of gaslighting. So I mean, yeah, like the vase situation, and like you know, just being or a woman just feeling like she's a piece of shit, not doing enough, or not even relationships, just like a boss just telling you know, one of their employees, hey, like I listened to you, you know, coming from where I'm from, you know, I could have a boss that would be like, hey, I listened to your phone call, you know, you did this, this, and this, but you didn't do enough. You didn't do, you know, you hit all the targets, but that still wasn't enough. So then that makes, you know, the employee be like, what? I thought I hit everything. The call seemed okay. But, you know, and now I'm just over here like questioning my judgment, like what the hell am I supposed to do more? Like, I mean, I hit all the targets. I made sure, you know, everything was set and, you know, procedure-wise moving forward. But I guess it wasn't enough. So yeah, that's a shitty way of going through things, to manipulate somebody to thinking that you're not enough is never okay. You're playing minds with the, you know, playing tricks with the mind, and that never really ends well. They lose their sanity, as I mentioned in the thing. So you know, don't play tricks with minds, or you'll end up creating one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. And yeah,
Ghetto Boys reference.
Ghetto Boys, yeah. Grow up if you don't get the reference. But yeah, gaslighting, man. Shit, that's shitty.
Yeah, no, I only really learned about it
up
until recent, and like it's an interesting concept because I was like, what the hell is that? Like I don't even really understand what that is. And then not to get too personal into this, but the reason why I wanted to get into this at least episode, because I remember being in relationships as like a younger kid and then not realizing that I was the toxic one growing up. And this is something that like I don't usually admit, but it's always interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our most interesting episode yet. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
But the greatest thing about kind of like realizing it and then like learning from it is that, you know, you can get better. So then when I spoke about realizing that human beings are the toxic ones, I had a self-realization kind of point in my life where I was like, man, I'm the piece of shit here. But the craziest thing about being the toxic person is that sometimes you don't even realize you're being toxic because you just think that's how it is or how it's supposed to go. Whether it comes from like the way that you look at relationships as a kid, you know, whatever traumatic experiences that happened to you at a younger age that happened to create the walls of what you think a relationship is supposed to be, or how the roles are of you as an individual are supposed to act, whether your relationship with food, or your manager, or your significant other, even to the relationship that you have with yourself. It takes a lot of self-actualization and looking in the mirror and realizing that, some of the actions that you did personally were the causes of a toxic relationship in itself.
Yeah.
And not to get too deep into it.
Why?
Being in a relationship, like, for people who know my history, I've always been in relationships. I've just been a relationship kind of guy. Other than like my earlier 20s, but I've always been kind of a relationship type of person.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize what I was doing in those relationships and how bad I was acting until I sort of realized that there are people that are doing that to me.
So why do you feel like you were like, not, I don't want to say
No,
abusive, but like mental, like why do you feel like you were gaslighting?
Well, I don't know if it was like 100% gaslighting, but it
Yeah.
probably was 100% gaslighting, because I think that at a point of my life, I didn't know what toxic or being a toxic person was. And I always just thought of myself somewhat highly in relation to like the person that I was. But then really, when I looked at myself, I was kind of like, man, I ain't shit. But the way that you have to kind of like keep yourself up when you're in that mind state is that you have to like kind of push people under you to kind of boost yourself up in relation to like certain relationships. So there are relationships that I got into when I was younger where people got the blunt end of it because I didn't feel enough in the relationship, whether it was, my work, whether it was my schooling, whether it was, the people that I happened to be at that point in time. And the biggest problem is the victim in itself. They have to kind of deal with all this because, whether they're in love with you, whether they have to work with you, no matter what it is. And that is the worst part about it, because a toxic person can sometimes go their whole lives or the whole relationship without having to actually know what they're doing. And then they get away with shit like that. And then the person that actually sits there and just takes all of it, and they never maybe get to realize that, the other person's the fucking problem. Then sometimes toxic relationships can go on for a lifetime.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like, what? Because I'm still confused. Like, what examples do you have of you being taught? Like, I don't. Like, is there like I don't know, was it addressing their like physical appearance, or like just like
it would be?
Would you say like you had like a rough day at school, and then you like if they ask you something, you just be like, no, you don't.
Yeah, like it would be. Let's say if like I would have a rough day at school or whatever like that, or like have a bad day at work, and then you have to take it out on that person, whether it is ignoring them, making them feel a certain way, putting your anger towards that type of person. Or let's say if they wanted to do something, like for the better of the relationship, whether they wanted to go like apple picking or like to fucking out and about or go shopping or whatever it is, and then you, because you don't want to do that, you make them feel bad for making them make you want to do it, or like something like that, like stupid shit like that. And those small things, even though it wasn't any kind of like physical abuse that I potentially was not doing, I don't do that, but the mental abuse that these people happen to go through in my lifetime, where I thought I had to do that to be able to keep myself happy or to keep myself up as an individual. Only to sit there and look in the mirror, freaking 10 years after, 5 years after, and be like, man, I was the person that was ruining these relationships. I was the person that caused this specific issue, and now I can't fix it because now the relationship happens to be done. So the problem is that the people that don't happen to go through it sometimes never get out of it. Because I always think of myself that I had this kind of like self-actualization, and I actually try to apologize to certain people that, I've affected in my lifetime throughout those relationships. Like, but it's something serious. But there's certain relationships where people that are victimized in these relationships, they deal with it forever because the one person, and I know that people say, oh, it takes two to tango, but if there's that one toxic relationship person and they're the ones that are causing it, sometimes they never get out of it. And the victim of that specific other part of the relationship can be gone forever. And I've seen these relationships from a third party perspective, whether it happens to be with like certain parents or like certain uncles and family, and then not even in the media, but like, you know, maybe it's your brother or whatever it may be. To kind of understand that toxic relationships is really just an insecure, at least for me, an insecurity that I caused personally for those relationships to like last.
Sure.
But really the only reason why they last is because that person fucking loved me forever, or that person put effort into it, whether it was my manager, you know, my relationship, you know, even myself. It was a really huge insecurity with myself, and that's why I acted that certain way. That is one of the biggest things that cause, I think, personally toxic relationships. It happens to be the insecurity of the individual. They don't feel, they don't feel worthy enough themselves, so they take it out on the closest relationship they happen to have, whether it happens to be your coworker, whether it happens to be your best friend, your mom, your dad, your significant other, your dog, whatever it may be, the food, the games that you're playing, your hobbies. All of that happens to kind of falter and, you know, causes harm in relation to how you look at certain relationships and how you're supposed to act. So self-realization, understand that, you know, us as people, we do toxic shit. That's just what we do. But the only way to realistically fix that is to look at yourself and kind of like mentalize exactly what you did and why it was wrong and what happened in that result. I'm not trying to get into too much of the solution because everyone solves their own problems in their own certain way.
Right.
But for me, I think the actualization to be like, you know what, I caused that. Like, where did this argument start from? Where did that even word come from? Why am I even mad right now? Certain things like that, to catch yourself in those feelings and to be a little bit more mindful of exactly your thoughts and expressions and what you say, especially during arguments or especially during debates or whatever it may be. That stuff is important to be able to kind of make that change to become a better person, so that you aren't being the toxic person in the relationship, that you aren't gaslighting individuals, that you're not showing or trying to hide your insecurities from these people so that you make them feel, you know, worse than you are, kind of thing, right? So that's my kind of own personal kind of feeling towards toxic relationships, because I think that I was the person that caused it majority of the time. And now, you know, I definitely try to be a little bit more mindful, or as mindful as possible, to be able to know when thoughts happen to come up, because I think that as human beings, you don't change forever.
Right.
Or you don't fully change. You can kind of understand exactly and do a little bit better, but thoughts still come up, things still come up, and then you have to kind of like understand that that's just a thought, or just you know, something that was part of your past, kind of thing. So yeah, no, like I think that, and I know probably not a lot of my friends really thought this, but they probably saw it in me in like the arguments that we used to have when we were younger, thinking that Lupe was the best fucking rapper at 16 and all the stupid things that I used to say about it. And then trying to get them to change their opinion on it and stuff like that. Things like that is what causes a toxicity as a person. Like, you as an individual, you are a toxic person when shit like that happens.
Wow.
So,
we actually read the end of the mark here, so we're gonna end it. No,
I'm gonna get out of here. So
just ends it. Just goes to bed and sleep. No, I 100% agree with you. I think that, you know, I guess, yeah, it's just essentially bullying, really. That it plays a big role in terms of what makes people toxic, if you will. I know for me, you know, going back to high school, I used to get clowned a lot, you know, due to the race, my race. And I wasn't really, you know, you know, I try not to let things bug me as much, because I'm a pretty patient person. But you know, shit, sometimes, yeah, I'm just like, fuck, I'm gonna, you know, this shit sucks. And especially when you're like the only, you're not only, but like one of the select few Black kids that go to that school. Just like, oh shit, I'm like, you know, I'm stuck against the wall here, and I don't know how to defend myself. So it's just like, yeah, there's a few people who I would just like I wouldn't say shitty. I try not to. I would joke around, but I would make jokes, well, like jokes at their expense. But I would try not to be as hurtful. But there was a few times where I went overboard because of my frustration, and I'm just like, fuck, I feel so bad. Yeah, there's a select few people that I feel bad now that I've aged and matured. Um, I wouldn't say I was a shitty person back then. I tried to be as nice as possible back then, but I've had my moments where I wasn't very proud of myself. Um, yeah, just I can't really. There's a few people who've I probably you've been shitty too. Carmen, if you listen, I apologize. Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
Carmen.
it plays a role in terms of people taking advantage of your insecurities, and then but that's essentially bullying, really. You just people who they haven't suffered some shit outside of that zone. So, example of a kid probably being abused at home from his drunk dad. Then he goes to school the next day, beats the shit out of some younger kid who's weaker than him, simply just because the kid that weaker kid has no clue why the hell he's picking on you, but he's going through some shit. And I'm not asking the weaker kid to just take it, but I mean, like, at the same time, not really, because I don't want to say just understand what he's going through. That I don't want you to feel like oh, he's having a shitty situation, so go ahead. But at the same time, no, just like being like, hey, listen, you going through some shit. You probably don't want to talk about it, but just like you need to ease up and not beat me up as much, or not as much, or at all, really. Just like get your shit together. But yeah, in terms of that's a form of toxicity in schools or like bullying in general. But in terms of toxicities and relationships themselves, um, yeah, in terms of what may cause that, I know, let's say, what's an example? Future, the rapper. He's a pretty toxic fellow, well known on the internet as a toxic fellow. He has about like 8 kids with like a few,
A couple different women.
yeah, paying a shit ton on child support, which is nuts. Like, holy.
Do they know
fuck.
how much that is?
It's been released a few times as
A couple million or
yeah, a
something,
few
I would
million.
assume. Damn.
Yeah, it's shitty. Yeah, he in terms of, I don't believe he had a father growing up. And so I think he blames that as to why he is the way he is with women. He would ask a woman, there's a few of his text messages online where he would ask a woman out on a date, or not to date, but just to have sex. And she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not busy that day. Or, but I know, what would she say? I think she said that she was on her period, but she can hang out. And then he's like, "Ooh, never mind. Don't bother coming over." And she's just like, "Really? You're just gonna do that?" And he's like, "Yep. Enjoy your day, my dear." And just he carries on with his day.
That's toxic.
That's yeah. One other thing, he was in an interview where he was asked, "How come you don't marry one of your baby mamas?" It's like, well, if I marry one of them, then the other ones will be pissed off. Yeah, so he's a
character.
he's
Holy
a bit and a half. He has his moments for sure, but big pop star is I imagine that's not doing well for his ego. He's probably thinking what he's doing is all fine. He needs to surround himself with a few friends, just to be like, hey, cut that out. Take it easy. Don't be nice. Be nice. But and yeah, in terms of influencing that, like, I mean, what would influence one to be in that position? Would you say loss of a father? A father not being there to guide him, or like maybe a relationship that gone wrong, that just
there was definitely one aspect that I think that you touched upon, and to kind of put like a definition behind it, but everybody goes through, not everybody, but people go through traumatic experiences.
Sure.
And trauma, from what we know about like social sciences and how it affects the brain, and like how you kind of build your walls, and what you set as standards in your lifetime growing up. Even though you happen to live in society as a human being, everyone happens to kind of grow up in a different village, I would say, if you're going to go back to that saying where like it takes a village to raise a child. Every single person happens to grow up a little bit differently, whether those experiences that you happen to, experience or go through as a child, when your mind is still building and you're still building exactly what is right and wrong, what a relationship's supposed to look like, how am I supposed to act around my brothers, how are you supposed to act at school, certain things like that are all still sort of building. And especially if you're having bad experiences throughout those times, then you're definitely, well, not definitely, but sometimes, or it is kind of a given thing where you're going to have some sort of traumatic experiences on how you look at certain things. So guys like Future, if he didn't have a dad growing up, that could definitely be some sort of a traumatic experience on how he looks at relationships,
Sure.
which causes him to be the toxic one, in relationships. And I think that's something that everybody has to kind of look at. And then whether you happen to pick and choose and then look at your past experiences and try to learn from them, or you let them absorb you, the way that I think that Future kind of does, because I'm hoping that he learns from it. But
No.
out of 8 children and paying millions of dollars of child support, all of these guys are probably not going to have a father. You'll have a lot of money, but those are the things that actually cause traumatic experiences for like younger children, because they don't see proper, and I won't say proper, but they don't see a relationship that has both sides, or a balance between, two individuals that can teach you two different things. They have one side and a whole bunch of money, which causes like certain issues like toxicity. That's why you have people like Future, like having a whole bunch of kids with a bunch of people, because maybe he doesn't know what a relationship's supposed to look like. And then even if he's learned from it, whether he let it absorb him or he learned from it, which it seems like he didn't, because he's still fucking around. Those are the issues that, cause people to get hurt.
Right.
So the victims that, happen to be in these relationships, and I don't know if victims like a harsh word, but I would call them victims, but it's like the people that are being hurt in these relationships that were truly in it. They're the ones that get hurt. And if you really don't care, then it's like, man, who are the it's like, where's your sympathy?
Yeah.
Or like, where's your humanity in that case? And like, would you consider a Future a narcissist?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's not even, 110%. I think most rappers are narcissists.
Really?
Well, they boost them. Like, it's a competition, and most rappers, they just deem themselves as the best rapper alive.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
That's
even like if you ask Jay-Z, like, bro, I 100% believe, like, if you ask him who's the greatest of all time, he'll say himself, and he literally calls himself Hove.
Yeah.
Hova.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And then
Beyonce created a whole fucking song about it. Ego.
Yeah. That's
literally about Jay-Z's ego. You know what I mean? It's just most rappers are. I think Future, I read in an interview once that Future had where he said, like, yeah, I can't be there for my kids too often, because you have to understand your dad's a fucking rock star. He said that.
Yeah, see, like that.
He's like,
that's toxic.
That's like, just like, fuck, it's like, when, he, before all this, I don't believe he was humble. Like, I feel that, he was he was a handsome guy before, and apparently ladies love him,
kids,
but, it's just, he's a,
You get in the middle of the call during a podcast.
It's all good. I'll just screen the call and see if it's a fucking scammer or not. But just freaking Future is his narcissism. I wouldn't say he's the worst I've seen. What the hell?
Narcissism definitely plays a role in creating toxic relationships. I think that you as a narcissist, you have no sympathy, whatsoever for any of your victims or whatever it may be. Carlos is kind of doing something at the moment, but
my fault.
Narcissism, I would think, happens to play a huge role in relation to creating a toxic environment, whether it's for yourself, for your coworkers, or whatever it may be, your family in this case. For Future's case, at least. That is the worst part about it. And then, do you feel like there's more narcissism are glorified narcissism or narcissistic people in the world today?
Oh, 110%. And I'll tell you why. And I'm glad you asked me this question.
Please.
Before all the, in terms of the celebrity, I think most of them are narcissists because at the end of the day, they are competing with one another to get to the spots of where they are. Simple as that. And now, in terms of us regular folk, as to why I feel narcissism plays a huge role today, social media. I know we talk about it a lot here, and I apologize, but
It's true though.
here's my thought process on this. We now live in a world where people have access to our daily lives through the pictures and videos that we upload online. Now, these people are now looking at how many followers they're looking at their account and how many likes they are getting on their content. And we're not talking about entertainment. These aren't comedians. These are just people talking about their regular life. So when they get more likes, when they get more followers based on the pictures they post, it boosts up your ego and you feel like you're on top of the world. Now, if someone's eating a sandwich and there's like 20,000 people that like the picture, oh, I'm gonna feel some type of way. I'm a motherfucking god. People like me just from eating my motherfucking sandwich. You know what I mean?
Motherfucking good sandwich.
Yeah. Oh shit, this sandwich is the best. And then now the sandwich shop is making business, and now they're like, hey, you made a lot of attention for our fucking shop from your picture. Let's work with you. Like, shit, I'm a god. Come work with me. You know what I mean? So yeah, we live in this generation where freaking girls are posting half naked pictures, and they're getting a lot of followers just from posting alone. They're just whether they the way they promote themselves is posting comments in other people's accounts and saying, oh, hey, I have these pictures here. Hey, I'm going to be the best rapper alive. Come click on my content, blah, 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 blah. And then the more you get, the more the more followers you get, the more likes you get, the more it boosts your ego. And now when you feel like your ego has been boosted to this amount, you feel some type of way about yourself. There's some insecurity when you read the comments like, oh yeah, I didn't like this pic this week because I didn't like this pic this day because you look like this, and this. So now it's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go out of my way to do something better to get their attention back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now it's just like, oh shit, here I'm posting myself a little bit more half naked this time. You're seeing a lot more. And now they're like, oh shit, I like this. Keep going it like that. You see what I mean? So that is when and now I might get a little controversial here. With the whole gender situation that exploded through the roof in this social media,
definitely,
era. So now that when people express that, hey, I am now gender fluid, they're going to get this attention now, and they're going to, and they want people to appreciate that I am gender fluid now. You cannot, I'm not going to allow you to, touch me or offend me in any way simply because, I am different from other people now.
Yeah.
I am not the normal male or female. And now that they have this social media presence, it's like, all right, here I go. This is me now. If I see one comment, I'm gonna freaking, go out of my way to destroy you, to ensure that you are no longer on social media because you are going to hurt my feelings, my ego, along with many others as well. And it doesn't even have to be about gender fluidity and whatnot. Beyonce could post one thing and then another celebrity would say a bad thing, and then those people will go out of their way to fucking destroy that person for talking shit about Beyonce. That would fucking boost Beyonce's ego through the fucking roof. She would feel like a fucking god. And she probably does feel like the way she's walking around like with royalty with Jay-Z. You see what I mean? So I mean, now, like, this would not have happened in 2002. She was popular, but not this popular.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, in this era, yeah, narcissism, whether it be for celebrity or even the regular folk now, it's skyrocketed through the roof. People feel so strongly about themselves because they have this social media presence, and it's killing us, damn it. Yeah, that's how I feel.
The one thing that I did want to kind of touch on that I thought you brought up a great point was like the need for attention. Usually the need for attention happens to come from, I don't know, maybe you happen to be neglected as a young kid.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't have too many friends. Maybe your parents weren't there and you didn't feel the need to be needed, or to be loved, or whatever it happens to be. So then you go and do some, fucking harsh decision making to cause some sort of attention to come back to you. And then anybody who happens to offend you in any sort of way, you use that as like firepower to get more attention in that case. And I think that's a predominant concept in today's society, no matter what sort of, society that you happen to fall under, or whatever kind of, thing that you identify as, or person that you identify as. I think that happens a lot. I think that the toxic relationship with like social media has definitely caused individuals to be a little bit more toxic, which causes toxic relationships in general. So I think it all sort of kind of blends in together, or, certain things happen to like, what's that word? Sort of like relate to each other. Like there happens to be an event that happens that causes a certain event to happen. So just to give you an example, I think like in 2008 or 2010, like teenage girls' suicides flew through the roof.
Right.
Throughout like 2010 to like 2012. And then like people are trying to like on the western side of Canada, or western side of the world, people are trying to figure out exactly what the hell is going on. But then you also see the jump in like Facebook and like Instagram and like Snapchat and all that kind of stuff. So there were certain relationships that happen to be happening in the background that are still happening to today. I think toxic relationships are something that's hard to be able to kind of put into numbers, whether you're talking about like abusive relationships. You do studies that people, I don't know, you survey 1,000 people and say, are you in a toxic relationship? Have you ever been in a toxic relationship? I'm sure that I fully agree with you. I think that social media causes that rise in relation to causing toxicity for individuals. Right. I think we've always been toxic. We've always had sort of toxic thoughts.
Yes.
But it's definitely predominant now that we have a way to be able to kind of glorify it in a certain way.
Yes.
And I think it's a terrible, terrible thing. Because definitely it plays a huge role in things like, individual insecurities, how you take it on your relationships, and then how you even deal with relationships going forward as an adult or as a teenager or as whatever age you may be at this point in time. That's definitely a huge, huge issue that we definitely should be looking into. I know there's
turn off social media.
That's pretty much it.
Turn it off, bitch. You don't need that fucking, you know what I mean? Who cares how many people liked your picture? Like, you have nothing to prove to these people. And just, you know what I mean? And, like my thing is, I feel bad for the celebrities nowadays because they have all this fucking pressure on them to be perfect.
Yeah, that too.
All this, people who are popular on the interwebs, they have all this, they have to be perfect. They can't say one thing wrong or else social media will snap on them. And now, these celebrities are out of jobs. They can't pay their bills or support their family.
Yeah.
Simply because of this one mistake.
Yeah.
And these are the people that, that you want to, adhere to freaking entertain. Listen. For all you celebrities out there, here's the deal. I understand that you have a voice, and most of these celebrities like to do political speeches when they win awards and shit, which I still don't get. You're a fucking actor. Don't have to
thank Jesus, man.
Yeah,
Jesus is the one.
Yeah, just thank Jesus, Allah, Yahweh, whoever just thank whoever you think, and get the fuck off the stage and continue to make movies. But in terms of politics and whatnot, keep it to yourself. I'm just gonna be real with you. Like, I understand that you have your opinions. Don't express it on the social media site. Don't tell me who the fuck to vote for, bitch. I'm just gonna fucking, you know what I mean? I'm gonna be who's an example of who's fucking you know what I'm saying? I'm you know, he's the homie, I love him, but Kanye West, for example, he freaking you know, did he endorse Donald Trump before or after? I think it was after. I don't think
after. Yeah,
it
I think he
was
did the
after.
whole. He went to
Who
the
was
White House,
endorsing?
the "Make America Great Again" hat, all that kind of shit.
Okay.
Remember
And
that? Yeah.
yeah. And so who there was a few celebrities that endorsed Donald Trump. Freaking Daddy Yankee, I think, was one of them. Fucking Daddy, the motherfucker that made gasolina is telling me to vote for Donald Trump. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck out of here, bro. Just make fucking reggaeton music and carry on, you know what I mean? Keep your thoughts to yourself because they're just gonna attack you when you express who you know. And you know, with Dave Chappelle in this whole situation, I get it. You know, he's a comedian. It's his job to make fun of whatever's going on in the world currently. That I understand. That I get. But at the same time, when you know, when you do that and you take those risks, people jump on it and they aren't going to be happy. Although people may agree with where you're coming from, I don't see you as a bad person, but the community that felt offended may see that way. And now there's all this attention, and now they, you know, they're asking for demands and shit. Is it really worth it? You know what I mean? It's just you don't have to adhere to these followers, these fans that support you. You know what I mean? Just do your own thing, create your own content, do what you want, and you know, don't ever feel like these fans, you know, you owe these fans anything or these followers anything. If you were in a fucking, if your car broke down, are you just gonna go through your list of people and be like, hey, help me brother out, man? I'm on, you know, fuck that shit. They ain't gonna help you. What's fucking little Dikembe out in Kenya that's following us on our fucking website is gonna do for me when my car breaks down on the little side of the street? He can't do shit. He can't do shit for me. Just don't, you know, just relax, take it easy. They're just people that like your shit. I understand. You may be a talented actor, you may be a good singer. Just keep being great at what you are. Don't adhere to these people. Don't let these people influence your fucking new album. Let life do that. Live your life. You know what I mean? Just do good things. Save money. Live better. The place where the baby killed herself. That's all I gotta say about that.
It sounds like we have, as society, we have a toxic relationship with celebrities.
Yeah, I mean, like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't get it.
I'm expecting way too much from you, motherfucker.
Yeah, shit, dude. It's like, you know what I mean? You know, you live life. Oh, that new album's great, bro. Oh, this new album's great. What the fuck you mean you're gonna endorse Donald Trump? Are you fucking stupid? Fuck you. I hate everything that you stand for simply because of that one thing. The one thing you can't agree with.
Yeah.
It's come on, guys. No one's perfect. Stop stop attacking people for making mistakes. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
So I guess we can get into our final thoughts, Carlos.
I mean, shit, dude. Here's my final thought for relationships. Keep this in mind. You're a team. All right. You try to make things work. Let's say, hypothetically, the girl is the QB and the guy is the wide receiver. I'm comparing it in a straight relationship here because I don't know how homosexual relationships work. The girl is a QB. She's looking out for the, you know, the wide receiver, anybody that is open. She's looking at you. You're the wide receiver. She's looking to see if you're open because you're her best guy. You are the guy, you're there for her whenever she needs you the most. You are open, you pass you pass the ball and then he gets it and you're open. And that guy's open and you grab it and you win Super Bowls together. That's relationship. Now, there's going to be times where she's looking and you're covered. You're going through some shit. You know, you got people on you. You got defenders just like, no, he ain't getting through here. All right? And you're just like, fuck, what do I do? You know what you do? You don't look for other people because that's your best guy. He's going to do it for you, especially when you're near the end zone. You know what you do? You take the ball and you run that shit yourself. You have to pull your fucking weight. That is a relationship. If he's not available, you got to pull your weight to put yourself together there, and vice versa for the wide receiver. You got to get yourself open. If you aren't open, get yourself open, bitch. That is how relationships work. How it should work. Y'all are a team. Work together to win Super Bowls, at least the AFC or the NFC championship. Make it happen, Captain. And don't follow the Colts playbook. Follow a playbook that would work for you. That's my thoughts.
That was beautifully said.
Thank you.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
I was trying not to laugh the whole time. That was wonderful, though. The analogy, man. The analogy.
Go ahead.
In this case, I definitely had a whole speech on it, and we definitely don't want to go too much or backtrack too much on it. But I think one of the main things is that if you find yourself that you're in a toxic relationship, please try to get yourself out of it. It's probably not going to get better.
No.
And I've definitely seen toxic relationships my whole life. I was the toxic relationship, so I know how it goes. You definitely don't deserve to be in it.
Right.
You deserve better than that. If you feel that there is something wrong, then probably there is something wrong. Your gut instinct is one of the best indicators of knowing that you're in a bad relationship.
Find yourself a wide receiver that can do it for you.
Definitely. Because you deserve a great wide receiver.
Amen. Amen.
But yeah, definitely. You deserve relationships. And if you are being fucking abused, then get the fuck out of there.
Yes, legit.
I'm telling you.
Don't miss me with all that. Oh, but he understands me.
No.
He provides for... Fuck that.
Get the fuck out of there.
Abort mission. Eject.
That's all I got to say.
Shit, man. Well, on that note.
Recommendations.
Oh, shit. I don't know. The new Future album's out.
Well, check that out. Some of that shit's hype, man.
He's great. I don't know. Majid Jordan's album came out. That's a good one.
Huge album.
I finished it last week. That was good. It was good.
Wale putting out an album.
Wale did freaking what was it? Florin 2.
Florin 2.
Yeah,
that was
pretty good. You listened to it?
I listened to it.
I listened to a bit.
It's definitely
bit.
not as good as his last album.
Florin 1 was really good.
And then like, wow, that's crazy. That album's just fucking beautiful in itself.
Which one's that again?
Wow.
Oh, that's his last album. Yeah. My fault. Yes.
But it's a pretty good album. I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely go listen to it if you can.
Yeah. All right. But I guess the winter's coming up. So although snow's not here yet, but get them winter tires ready. Apparently there's gonna be a shortage of tires.
Oh shit.
So prepare yourself, folks. Get them tires up because the shortage is it's affecting everything. I don't have a PS5 yet because of these motherfuckers. All right, let's there's a chip shortage. There's rental vehicle shortages. What the fuck kind of shit is that? That's crazy. And it's not even like, it's literally North America. How do you not have a car? What happened to the cars you had before? What happened? But yeah, just prepare yourselves for the winter. I don't want you to be driving and then, slipping and sliding, and then you open up claims for calls I have to make. Other than that, though, prepare yourself for the winter, folks. It's November, but the earlier the better. That's what I always say.
Shout out to Carlos's colleagues.
Yeah, if y'all listening to this, please understand that I am not this person. I am the nice guy that y'all love to work with, and I need this job. That being said, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is The Blank with Carlos and Ryan. That being said, fill it in.